Hook, the restaurant had gone completely silent.
Everyone froze: waiters, customers, even the piano player. At the corner table, a man in a $1,000 suit was yelling, his voice sharp like broken glass. His hand came down hard across the face of the woman sitting beside him. She was pregnant. And no one, not a single person, dared to move. That man was Richard Kane, the billionaire CEO who owned half the city. People whispered his name like he was untouchable. And for years, he was. Until that night, when three bikers walked in. Hey everyone, welcome back to your channel name, where real stories remind us what humanity still looks like. If this story moves you, please subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Because sometimes, a single act of kindness can change everything. It was a rainy Friday night in Seattle. The kind of night when people rush home and restaurants stay half empty. Inside the Emerald table, the air smelled of coffee and steak, and soft jazz played in the background. Richard Kane sat at the corner table with his wife, Ella. She looked delicate, maybe 7 months pregnant, wearing a pale blue dress that didn't hide the bruise on her wrist. A few waiters noticed, but no one said anything.
Everyone knew who Richard was. His company, Kane Dynamics, had thousands of employees.
His name was in magazines and on the city's donation plaques. He was the man who gave millions to charity, but behind closed doors, he was a monster.
That night, the argument started quietly.
Then Richard's voice rose. "You embarrassed me again," he hissed.
"Do you even know who you're talking to?" Ella tried to keep her voice calm. "Please, Richard. Not here."
But he didn't care who was watching. He slammed his fist on the table, spilling wine across the white cloth. The restaurant fell silent. And when he struck her across the face, the sound echoed. A waiter froze, his tray shaking in his hands. A couple near the bar whispered, "Is that him? The CEO?" A manager stepped forward, then hesitated.
Because who wants to be the one who stops a billionaire?
At that exact moment, the front door opened.
3 men walked in, dripping rainwater from their leather jackets.
They weren't your usual fine dining crowd, all tattoos, heavy boots, and worn jeans. One of them, a tall man with a thick beard, took off his gloves and looked around. They were members of a local motorcycle club, the Iron Shepherds. But they weren't what people assumed. They weren't criminals or gang members. They were veterans. Men who had seen war, who'd lost friends overseas, and who spent their free time fixing bikes and raising money for shelters.
The hostess looked nervous. Do you have a reservation?"
The bearded man smiled.
"Nah. Just looking for a warm meal and some peace."
They started heading toward a table when they noticed the silence. Then they saw Ella, her face red, eyes wet, hand pressed to her cheek. And they saw the man beside her, towering, furious, drunk on power. The tallest biker, named Sam, stopped walking.
"Everything okay over there, ma'am?"
Ella's lips trembled. She opened her mouth, but before she could speak, Richard stood up. "Mind your business," he snapped.
"Do you know who I am?" Sam looked him straight in the eye. "Don't care who you are. I just saw you hit a woman."
The restaurant manager hurried over.
"Please, gentlemen, let's not cause a scene."
But the scene had already been caused. Richard smirked.
"You think you're some kind of hero?
You have no idea who you're dealing with.
I could buy this place and have you thrown out." Sam didn't move. "You could buy the building, but you can't buy decency."
The other 2 bikers stepped forward quietly, not saying a word. They weren't threatening, just there, like a wall between Ella and the man who'd been terrorizing her. Ella's eyes filled with tears. For the first time that night, she felt safe.
Richard sneered. "You're making a mistake." Sam leaned closer. "No. The mistake is thinking money makes you more of a man." Someone in the back started recording on their phone. The whole restaurant watched, not out of fear anymore, but awe. Sam turned to Ella. "Ma'am, do you want to leave?" Ella nodded, barely able to speak. Sam reached out his hand.
She hesitated, looking at her husband, the man who had controlled her life for years. Then she took Sam's hand. Slowly, she stood up. Richard grabbed her wrist, but before he could pull her back, Sam's hand clamped down on his shoulder, firm but calm.
That's enough.
Richard froze. The confidence drained from his face.
For the first time, he wasn't the biggest man in the room. Sam helped Ella toward the door.
The other bikers followed behind her like bodyguards.
As they reached the exit, Richard shouted, "You'll regret this. I'll ruin you." Sam looked back. "Maybe.
But at least I'll sleep tonight."
And then they walked out into the rain. Outside, the bikers guided Ella under the awning.
The rain was coming down hard now, soaking the sidewalk.
Sam took off his leather jacket and draped it over her shoulders. "You got somewhere safe to go?" he asked.
Ella wiped her tears.
"My sister lives across town. But I don't have a car." "Then we'll take you," Sam said simply.
They helped her onto one of the bikes, carefully, making sure she was comfortable, and they rode through the rain, the city lights blurring past like streaks of gold. For the first time in a long time, Ella smiled. When they reached her sister's house, Sam gave her his card.
"It's got a number for the Iron Shepherds. We work with a women's shelter. They'll help you if you need it."
No judgment, no questions.
Ella looked at him, tears in her eyes. "Why are you doing this? You don't even know me." Sam smiled softly.
"Ma'am, kindness doesn't need a reason."
The next morning, the video of the restaurant confrontation hit the internet. Millions watched it within hours. The headline read, "Billionaire CEO caught abusing wife stopped by bikers."
The public was outraged.
Richard Kane was forced to resign.
His wife, Ella, filed for divorce, and for once, she had the support of a whole city behind her.
News outlets tried to track down the mystery bikers, but Sam and his crew didn't do interviews.
When reporters found them at their repair shop, Sam simply said, "We didn't do anything special.
We just did what was right." But across America, people didn't see it that way.
They saw hope, proof that kindness could still stand up to cruelty, even when the world looked the other way.
Months passed.
Ella gave birth to a baby boy, healthy, beautiful, with her same soft eyes.
She named him Samuel.
She started volunteering at the same shelter the Iron Shepherds supported. On weekends, she helped other women escape from abusive relationships, sharing her story quietly but powerfully. And every Christmas, a group of bikers would roll up to her house with gifts for the kids, no cameras, no news crews, just genuine kindness. One evening, when her son was about 5, Ella told him the story of how he got his name.
"There was a man who helped me when no one else would," she said softly. "He didn't ask for anything. He just wanted me to be safe."
That's what kindness is, sweetheart, doing what's right, even when it's hard.
Kindness doesn't always look gentle.
Sometimes it wears leather and rides a Harley.
Sometimes it stands up in a room full of fear and says, "That's enough."
In a world where people often look away, kindness is the courage to act, to protect, to speak, to care. The story of Sam and Ella reminds us that compassion isn't weakness. It's power, the kind that changes lives, restores hope, and reminds us what it means to be human.
So the next time you see someone hurting, don't turn away. You don't need a cape, a badge, or $1 billion. You just need kindness. Because kindness can save a life.